Welcome back, I'm Aladino, and together with my wife Maya, we are refitting a Cape George Cutter 36. Right now, we're on a real race towards the end. My visa here is coming to a close pretty soon. We have decided to truck the boat to Canada. That means though that it's no longer going to be under a roof. That is why we have to rush to get everything structurally sound and hopefully waterproof. Alright, today is the big day that I'm going to start gluing on the second layer of plywood here in the cockpit. It might be straightforward, but it might also be a task that has to be divided into a couple of days. Always a little bit intimidating, but so far things have gone well. Well, the cockpit, just as the rest of the deck, consists of 2 layers of half-inch plywood, and then that will all be fiberglassed over and faired, primed and painted. One challenging part of the cockpit that certainly took most of my time thinking about it were the hatches, the gutters, but I came up with a really good solution here, I think, which is to get ready-made hatches, so I don't actually have to build them. I just have to make the cutouts to a specific dimension, but I'm really happy with the decision. The weather gods are on our side. It is a little cooler today. I have wiped everything with acetone, I've taped a bit, I put down some plastic sheet. Yeah, I just anticipate quite a bit of squeeze out, and we don't want to ruin our beautifully brand new painted lockers. We've done a few things like this now, so I'm not worried, but it is a bigger task with some risks involved, of course. It involves bigger batches of epoxy. You have to have everything. It's like the mise en place in a kitchen. You have to know the process and you have to know the steps and have them prepared as well as you can. Because you're working with big batches of epoxy, you don't want those to kick and start gelling before you're ready to proceed with it. So yeah, it's a lot about prep again.
You gotta find your people to put the needle in the groove. When you're together, you got nothing to prove. When you're together, you got nothing to lose. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost.
Having the second layer of deck down is a huge milestone. I did it! I made it! Really amazing though, the slow curing hardener. I came back after lunch, was able to still do some cleanup on it. Really pleasant to work with. Happy to see the excess epoxy squeeze out through the breather holes that I drilled. I don't know the technical term, I'm sure there is one. For one, all the screw holes already help because you cannot get all the screws in there in the same time. But I additionally drilled a few extra ones where there was a big surface of plywood, and it actually takes a fair amount of time. I've been done half an hour ago, and still the plywood is exerting pressure and the epoxy is slowly seeping out. Super happy, man. I feel like I'm turning into a robot. Big missions, and big missions get accomplished. And also robots need regular maintenance though. Maya tries to convince me that that consists of exercise and veggies, but I believe in Belgian beer and Swiss chocolate. So it's time for some of that, or maybe of all 4. A balanced lifestyle. All right, everybody, see you on the next mission.
It has definitely been a while since you saw any seawater appear on our channel. But that evening, the weather was good, and we decided to finally test out the dinghy that Aladino built over winter. We had only just finished the varnishing and assembling the rudder and all the little pieces, so it was the first time taking it out for a relaxed evening sail. And to be honest, it was much more about unwinding from the workday and just enjoying the moment than actually about the camera and making a full review of it. So a full video about the dinghy will come out later, but we can say for now, it sailed wonderfully and we shared a really nice evening together. Now, back to the regularly scheduled programming.
All right, we're gonna get ready to do the epoxy pour on the galley countertops.
The first tabletop epoxy pour that I did on the chart table was a little rocky only because we had had contamination on the chart table and I, had wiped all that contamination off, I hoped, but I wasn't sure. And yeah, I'm really happy that it turned out so well. But I'm hoping for a bit of a smoother and less stressful experience when doing the epoxy pour on the galley countertops. So I made sure to degrease and clean them thoroughly, make sure no contamination is anywhere in the vicinity, and yeah, hopefully this goes really, really smoothly. Definitely the most satisfying part is popping the bubbles with the heat gun as they arise to the surface, and you're just left with such a beautiful finish. I really love this tabletop epoxy. It's so easy to work with. It just levels itself. You barely have to do anything. Good morning. I see that Aladino worked on this last night, which is exciting. So this is the engine room door compartment, and we are planning on painting the teak plywood with the same white that we've used throughout the boat and leaving the teak trim varnished. The teak plywood that was used and that was original with the boat is not in good condition. The veneer is chipping off in a lot of places, so it just doesn't look very good. The beautiful teak trim, those beautiful Alaska yellow cedar countertops, and the rest a nice white is going to make for a really cohesive and lovely look. All right, so the countertops are cured now. So I will do a very light sanding on this because it is such a perfectly smooth surface, so I don't need to level it out. Just a little bit of sanding so that the varnished layers will adhere. And as far as color scheme and everything goes, we've decided to leave the corner posts teak and everything else will be white. So this will be white. This chart table will be white. This corner on the chart table will be varnished teak. We were wondering what to do with this chart table because up here there was all these splinters off of the veneer, which really didn't look good. So we were thinking of hiding it with trim or whatever. But I think that this will be a much more eye-catching and beautiful design because these countertops really should be the star of the show, and you can even see it right here. I think having that teak underneath them really doesn't frame them in the best way, whereas the white allows them to shine. And meanwhile, in the paint room, the chart table and these doors are really coming along well. So we now have 5 coats of varnish on the chart table. It's probably going to get a lot of sun from the companionway. I might do maybe 2 or 3 more coats of varnish, just because that's where all the UV protection comes from, before finishing it off with the satin finish varnish.
Meanwhile, I sanded the cockpit.
See, the world is getting better now. Feel the change is coming on my way. keeping hope as higher as I can, moving on, embracing destiny. Carry on, despite all my past, into tomorrow's bright and shiny days.
Next, I applied a fillet between the deck and the hull. That is just to get a different radius for the glass. It doesn't like to go over very sharp corners. That might actually become an air bubble or a void. So you want to curve things a little more gently.
All right, so I've just done a bunch of coats of varnish in different places on the boat today. I did not film even close to all of them, but there's only so many times you can film putting a layer of varnish on in the same spot before it starts to get a bit dull. I'm at, I think I'm at about 6 coats in the main saloon. Honestly, I've sort of lost track. And then I just got started up in the head and the V-berth as well. But Aladino's gonna start priming the chart table and some of those areas that I talked about painting white. So that'll be nice too. The aesthetic vision is really going to start to come to life soon.
That I've never known. I'll sing a song of victory ahead. Oh, I'm gonna dance to glories that I've made. Lying back, seeing through my time, imagining how life used to be. Not turning back, I'm moving on, not turning back. Up to the moon, there is no turning back.
So these have 6 coats on them, but going up forward, I've only got 2 coats on so far.
Here's the contrast. Oh boy, look at that. Might as well be pine.
Oh, dear.
No. Compared to the freshly sanded and varnished teak. Wow. Holy heck.
And I would really love to do a similar treatment to this big chest of drawers with painting this white, and then the door and the drawers are already done with varnish.
We are moving right along with this cockpit, wasting no time. The next thing before I put the bulwarks on is to glass over the decks, so let's get right to it.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm headed back into the pines where I can be the same. It's a needle perched up in the sky where no one knows its name. Get caught up in the airwaves, I get caught up in the noise. Get caught up pleasing people till I don't recognize my voice.
I can't believe how quickly the cockpit is turning around. Just a few weeks ago it was an empty piece of hull, and now it is taking shape really nicely.
I've been waiting all my life for a little peace of mind, for a wrinkle in time. It's safe to say I've lost my way in between the walls, the TV screens of magazines and the madness of it all. So I'm cutting off my phone line, I'm lacing up my shoes, I'm headed back into the pines for an older point of view.
I'm really proud of us.
Sign me up for a little piece of mind, a wrinkle in time, oh, a little piece of mind. Sign me up, I've been waiting all my life for a little piece of mind, for a wrinkle in time. Sign me up, I've been waiting all my life for a little piece of mind, a little piece of mind. Sign me up, I've been waiting all my life for a little piece of mind, for a wrinkle in time.
Things are not only moving quickly because of the pressure, but I'm I'm really comfortable now in this workshop. Everything is tuned, and yeah, it has all become a well-oiled piece of machinery that works together. As you can see, it's been another pretty productive day out here yesterday. I managed to glass the starboard cabin top side. So now the only one missing is port over here. It was getting late, I could have still done it. My engine was running hot and the workshop was hot, which is amazing to bang out glassing projects. I really like when it's warm. But I was also gluing on the bulwarks. So I didn't want it to interfere, and when I'm focusing on one thing, to stick my feet into the other wet epoxy. I'm really looking forward to having the whole cabin top glassed, because I really want to fare it a little further, and we want to paint while still in the workshop. Maybe not the entire boat. I really want to focus on the cabin sides mostly, because those will be painted. The cabin top will get non-skid, and the side decks will get non-skid of course as well. Given the rush, I think we really will be far from perfection. But yeah, that's the goal. That's why glassing ASAP, so that I can start with the fairing and the painting.
So yesterday was another day of just being in an absolute frenzy and just going. I was listening to long and ridiculous podcasts that I just zoned out and I just went for it. And I got a lot done. I'm so happy with it. So I got one coat of satin finish on all of this trim. It's now got 6 coats of the PP Extra varnish underneath, 1 coat of the satin finish, and I'll finish it off today with 1 other coat of the Rub Defect varnish. I am so happy with the Rub Defect varnish. It made the biggest difference in the world, because previously when I came in, when it was just the PP Extra varnish, there was all these weird glares, and now it's softened out. You can just see the wood grain. I think it's a much more soft, beautiful, and modern finish, and I think it actually celebrates the wood better. So I could not be happier. The other thing that I'm just so happy I finally made the decision on is painting this old teak veneer. I never liked this teak veneer. It was dark, it was bad looking, it was in bad condition. I'm so glad we just made the decision to paint it. Yeah, aesthetically this is turning out way better than I think I ever even could have imagined. I am holding off on finishing this teak trim just because installing the sink is going to be a little bit of a to-do, and I have a feeling we're going to dent this up a little bit during that, so I'll wait till the sink is installed. Yeah, it's just going so well.
Remember the start, remember the days. We'd drive for hours, windows down, and you'd sing away.
This is the door that separates the head from the saloon.
You home late, I'd say goodbye, you'd pull me close, whisper and say, remember, it could all fall down in a moment, like diamonds falling from the roof. You changed my world in a moment. From then till now, my world is you. And if you go, all the lights go out. I hope you stay, 'cause I need you. Remember the start, remember the days. We'd drive for hours, windows down, and you'd sing away. Talk through the night, I'd get you home late. I'd say goodbye, you'd pull me close, whisper and say.
The workshop has really become a beehive of activity, and what really has helped in the process is also the warmer temperatures. I really like how I can epoxy things much quicker. Warmer temperatures, I love them.
In a moment, but can we make our worlds collide? Oh, and if you go, then all the lights go out. I hope you stay, 'cause I need you. Remember the start, remember the days we drive for hours, windows down, you sing away.
Thank you so much for being here. As always, we look forward to continuing sharing this progress with you, and most importantly, I look forward to the day where we finally can launch and sort of enjoy the life that we have been working towards for so long at this point. Huge thank you to our patrons for making this all possible. This channel truly would not exist without you. Thank you. And in return, of course, we do post real-time updates every Tuesday on Patreon, and those are sort of a much less edited vlog where we walk you through the boat, talk about what we've been doing that week, talk about some real-time dilemmas, decisions that we're making, and we really appreciate the input we get on those as well. An extra big thanks to the folks whose names are now appearing on screen for always going above and beyond to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced, and of course, we'll see you next Friday.